Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It is 1 o'clock and it is April. We had a release this month, so thank you so much for joining us today for the new releases webinar. We're going to be discussing today everything that was released last week, April 9th, 2024. So we'll go over all of the items that we put in the release notes. So I'm going to go ahead and get things started here. If you missed the first part of this webinar, or if you join late, we are going to be posting this to our YouTube channel within the next 24 hours. So if you want to go back and listen to something or anything like that, please feel free to do so. But let's go ahead and get things kicked off. Oh, and my product team member, Josh, is also joining me. He's going to help me moderate and go through some QAs for any questions that you all have. So if you have questions as we go along, please feel free to post them in the QA, and we'll get those answered for you as we go along. Josh has also posted a link to the release notes for this release too. So if you want to go ahead and check those out, you can as well. So first of all, we just wanted to let you know that there is another club mastermind coming up in June. So if you haven't checked out Club Mastermind from Club Pickleball USA and our partners out in Orem, Utah, definitely check out this session. It's a 2-day session out in Utah where you're going to learn everything about running a pickleball facility. So Devin and Mike Egan, they take you through their recipe to success on pickleball facilities. So definitely check that out if you have not had an opportunity to join them yet. So again, Josh did post a link to the release notes in the chat. So if you want to find the release notes, you can click the link in the chat. If you want to access your release notes at any time for CourtReserve, you can always go to your CourtReserve account, log in the top right-hand corner up here next to your name. There's a nice little megaphone. When we have a new release posted, it typically shows up with a red dot on it to let you know that there's something new there. But definitely you can go back and access release notes at any time from any of our past releases. They're all posted there for you. So the first thing we're going to talk about, we're just going to dive right in, is a cool report that we released in this go around. So this report is going to track your payment profile declines. So to access this report, you're going to go to transactions, payment profile declines. And so it's going to be on that left-hand navigation under transactions, and then you're going to have a report there for these declines. Now, with the payment profile declines report, it's going to provide you an overview of declined transactions made through payment profiles. Okay, so this is really important to know, just to know, what users you have in your organization that don't have working payment profiles that they're using. So definitely a powerful tool to let you know where those gaps are and to maybe notify those players and contact those players and let them know they need to update their payment profile information. So within this report, you can search by the transaction date of when that payment profile was declined, okay? So it's going to show you the member's ID, their name, their email address, the date of the transaction, the last 4 digits of the payment method that was used, the profile type, so whether if it was an e-check ACH or a credit card, and then what that error was that caused it to decline. So the error message that comes back from the payment gateway is also going to post there as well. And then the category. The cool thing with this is that you can actually let me get ahead of myself. So within the payment profiles declined, once it actually declines, you're going to be able to see in the player's profile. So I have an example player profile here with a card that got declined. Within their account, it's going to show the payment decline here as well. And then it's going to show in that player's account too. So if they log into the member portal, this is going to show on their payment profile section of their account. So they can easily see it, you can easily see it, and identify where those payment profiles are. Now we'll talk about that. So the cool thing about this report is when you delete the payment profiles you can delete payment profiles that are getting declined consecutively during the auto pay process. So auto pay of membership dues, auto pay of event registrations, and Josh, I'm forgetting the third auto pay right now. But those 3
batch billing.
Batch billing, thank you. Those are the 3 occurrences where we have the auto pays happening. So if you are taking any of those auto pay collections, you actually have a new setting in here for integrated payments. So go to settings, integrated payments, you've got a checkbox here that says auto delete payment profiles after consecutive declines during the auto pay process. So if you get a payment profile that keeps getting deleted keeps getting declined and declined and declined and declined, you can do something about that now. So you can check this box. When you check that box, it's going to show you this other box here to say how many times do I allow this profile to payment profile to decline before I'm deleting it. So if you have it, the example I'm here showing 3. So if that payment profile is getting declined on the 3rd time, that payment profile is going to get deleted. There's not a notification process that goes out about that. But if you're pairing it correctly, with some other settings within the CourtReserve system, requirements for having payment profiles to book court reservations and things like that, you can easily catch those people and you can require them to add that payment profile information the next time they log in, possibly. So I'm going to go back here a couple slides. Within this payment profile report, you can show those deleted profiles too. So by default, this report's not going to show you the deleted profiles, but when you check this box, it's going to show like an X on the line, a red X. So when you are showing those deleted profiles, you'll see where they were declined, and then because they're filtering, it'll show you that they're deleted. So definitely a lot that you can do with this, and you will definitely be able to see when those declines are happening in that auto pay process too, and then maybe clear out your system. So again, in review on how to use this report in real life, really, you can identify and notify those players that need to update their card information, first of all, because on that reports page, there's a notify button. So you can take all of those people, maybe from a specific period of time, you can send them a notification. You can group them all together and send them a notification about those declines. So definitely a lot of easy ways that you can communicate with them there. Delete profiles when the declines are happening during the auto pay process. Again, if you're using auto pay, definitely check out that setting because it's going to allow you to clear out those profiles when they're deleting consecutively. And then combine with auto pay with your booking restrictions, because then if they're deleting those payment profiles and you require payment profile to book courts, it's going to require them to update that payment profile information the next time they go and book that court reservation. All right, so next up with reporting is we have a stock adjustment report. So this is a cool report that we added to your point of sale to give you, your admin, more visibility around your stock adjustment reporting. So instead of having to go down to the item level to see that adjustment history, we've given you a report that will show you lots of items at the same time, or you're able to narrow it down to maybe a specific item. You can't remember if you added that shipment that came in last week. You want to go see if you added those items in, you can do that. You want to go see maybe why the ins and outs of all your items and what's been selling and stuff like that. You can do that with the stock adjustment report now. So it's a cool tool to use. If you're using a scanner, the cool thing this report does, as well as this UPC code box, is scannable. So if you point that box at your scanner, you can easily identify the items that you are looking for in your report as well. All right, so next up is packages. Packages is a great report that packages. So we added some items to packages that are items that have been requested a lot recently. So the first thing was we added a start date to your packages. So we're allowing you to decide what day members can start using their packages. So you can really start to really effectively start pre-selling packages from that perspective. Package end date, we've added the ability for you to make it dynamic, which is what it already was, or expire on a specific date. Okay, so if I decide packages, I want to run a special on my packages and have those packages be used for the summer, I can say I want to start that on maybe Memorial Day and end it on Labor Day. And now I've got a package that's available for just that time period. So it gives you some just even more flexibility on how to use packages and how to pre-sell them to your members as well. I know we've had requests come in for like high performance academies that want to pre-sell packages for maybe their sessions that are happening in the fall or certain times of the year. This will allow you to do that. And then the big one that we did with this is allowing you to mass update your packages. So you can mass update the start date, the end date, and the package categories. It allows you to, if you forgot to add that category, you can go back and add that retroactively. So what does that look like? So within your packages edit package page, you're going to have your new setting for start date up in here. And then once you check that off, you're going to get the start date calendar. Now, once you go in and you start making changes to a package that already exists, if it detects a change, it's going to tell you that there's a package here, or there's packages, tell you how many that can be mass updated associated with this, the changes that you're making. So once you see this red information, if you click that checkbox, you'll get a confirmation to say, are you sure you want to do this? But it'll allow you to mass update all of those packages. So you can extend packages longer if you want to too. So, it just gives you way more flexibility on the things that you can do with packages. So we're really excited for this one.
Hey there, Kim. We did have a quick question on the payment profile
Sure.
declines and the auto deletion.
Okay.
So the question is there anything to prevent users from adding the same previously declined payment profile on their
Oh, that's a
account?
that's a good question. No, it's not going to prevent you from adding a previously declined payment profile. That's a good question. We'll definitely take a look at that, and maybe if there's something that we can do to prevent that, we'll definitely look into that. But the hope is that, maybe the card got declined because it doesn't exist anymore or something like that. That's a lot of the common ones we're seeing. So if they get a new card, it'll allow them to update that new card. Hopefully they're not adding a card again that doesn't exist, or they're adding a new, maybe it expired because they got they have a new expiration date or something like that. So there's a couple things at play there that could be happening as well. Also, I do want to mention with those payment profile declines, it's looking at consecutive declines. So if you've got if you're set to 3, you've got 2 declines, and then on the third try, the card goes through, it's going to reset that counter back again. So, maybe the card had insufficient funds the first 2 times you did it, and now the third time the funds are there, so the transaction's going to go through. So it's going to reset that counter every time it detects an approve or a transaction that goes through associated with that card number. All right, so moving on with packages. So I did also want to mention with packages, we are in the process of giving you a way to sell packages on the member portal. That is a huge request that keeps coming in. And so Josh here has actually been working on that with our UX UI team. They've got some great designs in store for that. So hopefully later this year, that will be coming for you as well. But I did want to make you aware we are working on that. So don't worry, it'll be coming soon. The next addition we had to CourtReserve this time was within member groups. So one of the requests we've got a lot is wanting the ability to display custom fields on the member portal within these member directories, player directories, and your member groups. So we've given you the ability now with that in this release. So if you go to your members on the left navigation, go to members, member groups, and now you're creating or editing a new member group. You're going to have your standard columns. We renamed this section standard columns to be displayed on the member portal and app because we didn't want to mess with the way that the setting was currently working. So we gave you a new section in here to add your custom fields to be displayed on the member portal. So you've got a way here to now maybe display emergency contact information and things like that if you want to as well. The next thing we did here was we added the DUPR rating category to the dropdown of available rating categories to display on the member portal too. So you can show your members, if you're using that DUPR integration, you can show those members DUPR ratings and expose them just so your members know who's rated who. Maybe they can find somebody to play with. So how can I use this tool? Again, show emergency contact information. That was the big one that really made us do this new feature, is just the ability to have that information available if you have that information available at the fingertips of your members in case they need to get a hold of something if an emergency happens on the court. Maybe they want to show the days that they're available to play, or they want us to tell what type of game they prefer to play, whether they like play singles, doubles, mixed doubles. It just kind of gives people an idea of what people enjoy playing if they're looking for somebody to play with. If you're a private club and you've got committees, maybe you're going to display the committees that a member might be part of. So, people know who to go to if they want to talk to somebody on the finance committee or the event committee or something like that. And then again, DUPR ratings are updating in real time. So, if you're displaying those ratings on the member portal to your members, you can be sure that they're updating as their DUPR rating improves or goes down. Okay, Josh, you got that question? Perfect.
Yep.
Right. So the next thing we've got here is with leagues. So we're going to go through some updates that we made to leagues. League coordinators. So we already had the ability to do coordinators surrounding events. We've now given you the ability to add coordinators to leagues. So what does that look like? You're going to be able to add coordinators to leagues in two different ways. You can add them at the league level, which is going to give them control within that assigned league. So that league and then all of the associated sessions with that league. Or you can add them at the session level. So you can control, if you assign a coordinator at the session level, that coordinator is only going to be able to control different aspects of that session of the league. So it's not you don't have to give them control to manage the entire leagues like you do on the admin permissions. You can say, I only want this coordinator to have access to this session, and then maybe have them update scores and things like that for you. So with the coordinator permissions or with the coordinator role type, again, there are some sub-admin settings that are associated with that. So on your sub-admin's permissions tables for your users, you have this coordinator section already. We've updated it so it now includes terminology to include leagues. And then we've also added another setting down here if you're using leagues to manage assigned league rounds or game days. So you're, excuse me, you're giving your basically this setting is going to say that this person can manage maybe the scoring for your game days and things like that. So definitely check this out if you want to be able to extend some assistance with your league management, because now you can actually control the items that those coordinators are doing within the leagues. I did also want to hit both of these settings too while we're on the call, because this came up internally within our own team. Just what's the difference between a coordinator and then this can manage league setting. So coordinator is, again, everything that I've just gone over. You're managing specific permissions around areas of the league. So you've got the league level, the session level, you've got manage registrants, manage game days, things like that. Can access or can manage leagues, this person is going to be able to manage or access all areas of the leagues with no restrictions like an admin. So if you want them to basically have admin control of a league, you're going to want them to be able to can manage leagues. You don't want to worry about the coordinator position. But if you want to just be able to divvy out certain permissions and have people help you manage your league, you'll definitely want to check out the coordinator role permission. And then some other small updates that we did make to leagues. So we made leagues visible on your schedulers. Previously, if you had a league session, it was showing as a blocked chunk of gray reserved time on your scheduler. So we've just made that visible. So now it's visible to people when they're booking reservations on the schedule. This is what's in the place here. This is why I can't reserve that reservation. And then league session refunds are now appearing on your pending refund screen. So if you cancel a player from your league, we're sending those players to your pending refund screen to approve or decline the refunds. So definitely check that out in your pending refund screen now. You'll have those players listed there. And then leagues cannot be deleted if they have sessions. We were running into this a little bit with support where people were accidentally deleting leagues and things like that too. So if you have a league with sessions in it and when players are registered, we're not going to let you just delete the entire league anymore. You would have to go in and actually cancel the sessions or delete the sessions before you can delete the league. So just putting a little bit more control around what people can delete. All right, and then moving right along, kind of associated with leaks, but a little bit more of an improvement on what we can do with DUPR. So in the last release that we did in February, we allowed, we brought in the DUPR NR rating. So if you're a DUPR player and you have an NR rating, so you don't have a DUPR rating yet, we weren't bringing those players in on the sync. So in the last release, we started bringing those players in on the sync. But now I have those players in my system and I still want them to be able to participate. So in this release, we went ahead and we gave you a way to allow those players with an NR DUPR rating to still register your events. So maybe you have specific DUPR events for players that aren't registered. So allow them to, maybe participate in activities or events that are going to help them boost their rating. So in order to do that, you can, when you go to your ratings restrictions on the event or the league, you're going to have this rating restrictions category. And once you select DUPR, you're selecting if we're looking at the DUPR doubles rating or the DUPR singles. So in this rating category now, the rating range, you can select 0. So if you have NR players, you're going to want to select the 0 range and then whatever your maximum is. Now, if you want to just limit it to those NR players, you would do a 0 to 0. So definitely check that out. So if you want to be able to include those NR players, if you're just looking to do what you were doing before and just include those specific DUPR ratings, you can still do that. But this just gives you a little bit more flexibility on what types of events that you can host. All right, a fun one that we added. This one was really in an attempt to help our customer success team, but also provide you some more transparency on why things happen within your events. I see a DUPR question come through. So let me go back to DUPR before I start on the next one. Do you need to have a max DUPR or can you leave the max DUPR blank? You don't need a max DUPR. Nope. You don't need to have a max DUPR rating here. You can leave this blank if you don't want to worry about a max participant. Maybe you just want a minimum of 3.0 DUPR rating. So you can put a minimum of 3.0 in and then you leave your max empty. And then any player that has above a 3.0 is going to be able to participate. All right. So again, let's go back to audit log. So we have we had a need to show you as admins when you had a player that maybe was skipped during the auto registration process. So I've got an event with a wait list. I've got 5 or 6 people on my wait list, and the first person on my wait list got skipped. So we were getting that question a lot with support, and we realized we can show you that information because we're tracking it in the database. So we exposed that through the audit log. So if you have a scenario like that where you have an event waitlist and somebody was skipped, in the audit log now, you're going to see this event registration. Your category here is going to be auto registration, and then it's going to tell you that this player was not registered and why. Okay, so you can go back through your audit log if you have that scenario happen. A lot of time this is happening because of event restrictions. So if you're saying player can't register for more than X number of events at a time or something like that, or participate in a certain number of events per month, it's going to pick up all that information in here and show it to you in the audit log. So if you have that occur, again, just check out the audit log on the event and it'll give you that information. If you have further questions, you can still reach out to our support team. All right, so this is a sub-admin permission that is definitely a good one to have if you have a front desk. So deleting reservations and a certain amount of time before a reservation starts, but for sub-admins. So with this setting in the sub-admin permission, so right now, if you are in your settings page, go to system users, edit, we're on that big table with all of the sub-admin permissions, okay? So deleting any reservations. So when somebody can delete a reservation, they can cancel a reservation, but we didn't have a limit around how far before an event was, or I'm sorry, a reservation start time that this could occur. So you could have, if your cancellation policy says you can't, cancel a reservation within, 3 hours of the reservation, this wasn't applying to your sub-admins. So this is going to prevent those sub-admins from canceling a reservation within X amount of time of the start time of that reservation, okay? So if I want to say my front desk is not eligible to cancel reservations 3 hours in advance, I would want to put 3 hours in this box here. You can still leave it blank, then it won't look at any sort of time counter or anything like that. But you can definitely put some parameters around when you want your sub-admins to be canceling reservations. We also applied this to the instructor reservations too. So if you have an instructor and they have owned reservations, you can put a limit in how far in advance or how far before the start time of that reservation or lesson they can cancel that lesson. Okay. And then I see there's another DUPR question that came in. In the past, there was a league I had set up with only a minimum DUPR and no max, not having a max prevented players. Okay, so definitely reach out to our support team if there was an issue where it wasn't preventing max players or max registrants from registering, or maybe your players weren't able to register. Please reach out to our support team and we'll see what we can troubleshoot for you there, okay? All right, so the next thing we did is a financial update around reverting payments, okay? So reverting credit card payment and ACH e-check transactions is now limited to pre-settlement only. So if you've had a credit card or an ACH transaction that you've run and it hasn't settled in the gateway yet, you can still run a revert payment and void that transaction. Once that transaction has now settled in the gateway, the response that we're going to give you is that you're not allowed to revert these payments anymore. You can only refund them, okay? So this has really been done in an ongoing effort to help us improve our accounting process. If we're no longer allowing you to revert payment after settlement. Basically, we're giving you the ability to lock down those accounting periods in a way so you can't go back and if you go back and look at a past accounting period and if you've reverted something previously, things were disappearing. So now we're ensuring that past accounting periods will never show a difference in payments captured. So you can, if you're properly refunding payments, you're going to have a track of the money and you're going to be able to see those refunds instead of just a payment disappearing. All right, and another small update we did, which just gives you some more customization around your portal and your organization, is we've given you the ability to update the subject of your welcome email. Previously, this defaulted and wasn't even displaying, and it just, when you sent out your welcome email, it said welcome to CourtReserve. So now we're giving you the ability to send that welcome email customized to your organization. So if you go into your organization settings, you scroll down, I think it's the portal row, and it's the welcome email button. You're going to see you now have a subject line here, and it's going to default to say whatever, welcome to whatever your organization's name is. But you can, change that and say that, or change that to say whatever you want now. And that's what's going to show up when your welcome email gets sent out to your new customers. And then another fun one we did, so if you joined CourtReserve since maybe October of last year, you've probably seen our new setup guide that we released at that time. But we, got some great feedback from it. And one of the feedbacks that we got from the setup guide was that, oh, but I've subscribed. Now I don't have access to my setup guide anymore. So we've given you the ability, if you would like to go back and use your setup guide, it's now going to be under settings in this top row of organization settings. It's over here way to the right called setup guide. Within the setup guide, you can actually decide now when you want to hide it. So you can go into that setup guide. There's a checkbox at the top that says hide setup guide. So when you're ready to actually turn it off and have it not display in your left navigation, you can do that. And also if you've had it turned off and you want to display it again, you can go back, check that box off, and it's going to show up in your left navigation again. And there it is for you in the left navigation. If you've been with CourtReserve for a while, you haven't probably seen our new setup guide, I definitely recommend going in and taking a look at it. It gives you a full checklist of all of the important steps that you need to take to set up an organization. So it's definitely a useful tool to help guide you through maybe something that you forgot how to set up, or you're looking for reservation restrictions and things like that. It's a good reference point that also links to setup articles within our knowledge base and will direct you directly to the item that you're setting up. All right, well, we've reached the end of the presentation. If there's any final questions that have come in, I will be happy to take those. But Josh, it doesn't look like we have anything in the Q&A box, do we?
Doesn't look like it.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm just going to move on to something fun that we have coming soon. So the next item that we have really that is going to be a big release for us here in the near future is going to be our branded mobile app. So back in January, I previewed the modern dashboard that you can see right here. We actually went back to the drawing board a little bit on the modern dashboard just with some of the beta feedback that we got in February. So we're making some improvements to the modern dashboard, but we are getting working ourselves up to releasing our branded mobile app. And so once that's released, we're going to have an info page on our website and we'll let you know when that information is available. But it is coming soon. So you can have your own branded mobile app. So what is the branded mobile app? It's your organization and an app for your organization. So yes, we have the CourtReserve app, but the branded mobile app is going to be your own app in the Apple or the Google Play Store. So your members, when they go to that app, they're not going to be able to navigate to other clubs and things like that. They're going to be just pointed to you. And if you have multiple locations, we'll even have the ability for them to be able to access those multiple locations too. So definitely stay tuned for that. I see a couple more questions.
It looks like we have a question on if we're planning on integrating with any more payment
Payment
providers.
providers. Okay, I'll give you a preview about payment providers. So the question specifically is around Square. We've explored Square a little bit. I did post in the admin community group earlier this year just thoughts around Square and how you would like to use it. So that, is a potential at some point down the road. So, but specifically, we are integrating with another payment provider here in the very near future. We're finishing some testing with a new payment provider. So we'll have that information here to you soon. It's a payment provider for our US and Canada customers. So stay tuned for that. We're very, very close to actually releasing that. We're just doing some final QA testing and getting all of the documentation together. So we'll have that information to you as well. Will members still need to download a new app when the branded app is released? Yes. So there will be a new app for your organization in the Apple or Google Play Store. So this is Tim and Ashley's new club in St. Augustine, Old Coast Pickleball. This is an actual screenshot from the Apple Play Store of that app in the Play Store today. So yes, your members will have a new app that they can go download. But again, it's going to be specific to your organization. It's not going to say, log into CourtReserve. It's going to say log into your organization and have your branding and be a reflection of your organization. Great to be able to process debit transactions. If you're talking about Canada specifically, debit transactions regarding Interac payments in Canada, the new payment provider will be able to process Interac payments. So more information on that coming soon. They'll be able to do terminal and Interac payments online for that. So we definitely have a solution coming for that as well. Amazing. Dave, any news on still looking for means to prevent players from registering for multiple events that run concurrently? Any news on that? Perhaps we will have a way to do that already with event restrictions. Reach out to our support team and we might be able to find you a solution there. Can we have players using the old and the new apps at the same time? Yes. They don't have to switch. So your organization is still going to be available on the main CourtReserve app. That's a great question. So yes, you'll still be findable on the main CourtReserve app. But again, the branded app is going to point people to your club, only your club, so they can't navigate away from your club. When will members be able to upload their own profile pictures? I'm currently working on that. That is definitely a great feature request that we are working on. Really, it comes down to having it, getting it working just within some of the new stuff that we're doing too on the mobile app and the desktop. So we just want to make sure that it's planned in the right spot for release. So we're working on that as well. Oh, ability to apply a credit to a specific member fee rather than auto apply. So that is we're calling it our account credits project. So account credits, basically it puts your credits into a wallet type thing, and it's not going to auto apply them to the oldest fee like it does now. Yes, that is actually in progress. We're QAing that right now and testing it. We wanted to release it earlier this year, but we've been working out some bugs and things like that. So we want to make sure it's perfect before we release it. That is coming soon. It's in QA. So definitely look out for that here soon. All right. Great. Well, thank you everybody so much for joining. I don't see any other questions in the QA box right now. Again, we will be posting this in yes, CourtReserve can prevent members from reserving more than one court. So definitely reach out to our support team. But again, we'll be posting this to YouTube in the next 24 hours. Josh is going to download it when we're done and get that all trimmed up and posted for you. If you have any other questions about the release, please feel free to reach out to our support team. We'll be happy to take care of those through our live chat or email. But it was great to see you, and I hope you guys join us next time when we have our release webinar next. Okay, have a great day.